There you have it, the first big reveal of WWE 2K25, and it's really sad to see how many of you think this is amazing because I just do not see it. What's to be excited about here? Another showcase mode that's relevant for a couple days once the game drops. A microtransaction infested island of relevancy mode that I promise will be the end of this series in a couple years with its heavy focus on microtransactions and taking your cash. Or the cover itself. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, a cover is irrelevant to the game itself, but that Bloodline cover kinda goes hard. Maybe it's just me overall, but I wasn't really impressed with this one. In my opinion, this game needs much bigger things than this trailer gives us. So today I'm gonna give you my list of 10 must-have features for WWE 2K games going forward to make this game truly relevant again. And as always, before we move on, allow me to take a second to thank all of you 1,000 plus people that have subscribed over the last 10 months or so. We are coming up on the 1-year anniversary of this channel, and my WWE 2K24 review was the first video on this channel. So talking about WWE 2K games again, it's getting me a little nostalgic from recent memory. But yeah, make sure you hit that subscribe button to stick around for future videos, including WWE 2K25 review and much more coming soon in 2025 and beyond. But let's get to the list. Let me just start by saying it's kind of sad that I made this list before the trailer actually came out, and this entire list is still mostly absent. This first entry is a perfect example of something that was somewhat addressed on this list, but also not at the same time. Match types, of course, is what I'm referring to here. Me personally, I'm not going to talk about a match like a dumpster match, for instance, because it's literally just a reskinned casket match. Doesn't mean that I don't want them to put it in the game or anything. There's just more important matches I'd like to see first. For example, NXT's newer match type, the Iron Survivor match. This feels like a must add to this game at this point, even though it doesn't seem to be here. It's something we've never seen before, and it's been on NXT recently, so I see no real reason that it should not include this for a WWE simulation game. Plus, this could be a major back-of-the-box selling type of point thing for the game, like War Games was previously. Would also be nice to see match types that were in the game previously, matches like Buried Alive, 3 Stages of Hell, I Quit matches. I understand that Buried Alive and 3 Stages of Hell haven't been on WWE TV in a long time, but there's really no excuse to not add I Quit at least. The I Quit match has been seen plenty and doesn't seem like a mode that's really difficult to do, especially since it's been done already. Last up here for match types, and I feel like the absolute must out of the group here, please expand the special guest referee match options. It's 2025, people. There's no logical reason we shouldn't be able to do special guest ref matches for like every type of match out there. If they want to do baby steps here, can you at least let us just do normal tag team, triple threat, and fatal 4-way matches with special guests? I don't know, for me, more of these match types that enter into the game is a bigger and bigger win the more they get added. More choices equals more fun. Shifting over to the actual wrestling itself, this is probably more of a personal preference thing, but I can understand how you might be okay with it existing, but I'm not. The grappling mechanic in these games is, for me, what keeps this game from having really smooth, realistic matches. Honestly, what's the actual point of this too? It looks sloppy, nobody does this shit in real life in wrestling matches 90+% of the time, and it's an extra button press for literally no reason at all. I think my biggest pet peeve overall with this is grappling for Irish whips. Again, why exactly do we have to grapple the opponent just to re-grapple them to Irish whip them again? See how complicated it sounds when I talk about it? Look, the game got me making up words that don't even exist. Re-grappling. That's how much the grappling makes no sense. Just let me walk up to my opponent, throw them like the previous generation of WWE games allowed you to do. See how smooth it looks without the extra step. Not every point on this list has to be a 5-minute conversation, but grappling can pack its bags and get the heck out of this game. Okay, as a huge ECW guy, this is probably the thing that irked me the most in last year's game. The weapon physics were so odd, is my best way of putting it. I don't know if physics is even the right wording to describe this one, but I mean, I don't know what else to call it. I hate the fact that you grab a shovel, baseball bat, or kendo stick, you hit your opponent with it, and they basically no-sell it 50% of the time. Like I said, it looks extremely off and makes weapons feel less dangerous than they should be. Also, keep in mind, a shovel or a baseball bat with WWE logic is a pretty big hitting weapon. I mean, I guess they are pretty big hitting weapons just in real life logic too, but not in this game anymore. Hit them in the skull with a shovel, it's all good. Shake it off and get back in there, kid.
You got it, dude!
It really does bother me to my core that they make weapons feel almost meaningless, and going along with this, for the love of everything, please bring back and add more grappling with the weapons. This feature adds a ridiculous amount of replayability to the gameplay in a wrestling video game. Let me DDT someone on the chair, do a spinning back kick to the chair, and heck, I know Edge isn't in these WWE games anymore, but the fact that I can't do a concerto is just an insult to WWE history. Even those old interactive actions with weapons would be a welcome return to the series. There's probably a lot of younger generation wrestling fans out there that don't even know this existed, and I think they would love it if it once again made its presence known. As far as video games go, I think weapon expansion might be the most important thing to keep the gameplay at its peak. Here comes another very, very important thing to spice up the gameplay and also keep it at peak level for a longer amount of time throughout the year. Of course, I'm talking about the OMG moments, or spots if you want to remarket it to pretend like it's a new thing. See, 2K, I did your job for you. As far as wrestling itself goes, this is so important to provide uniqueness to every match that you jump into and keep it from feeling stale so easily. It really helps matches when weapons aren't involved to still have those big memorable moments. Usually I don't like them just copy and pasting the way the feature used to be, but this one I'm completely cool with doing that if it means we get it back. I'm an avid defender that WWE 2K19 had the greatest simulation for wrestling gameplay ever. A big reason for that is the amount of choices you were given here in your matches for these memorable OMG spots. So if you want to straight up duplicate all these spots from 2K19 and insert them in 2K25 or the next series or the next game in the series after this, sign me up for that. Think about the endless possibilities that you just cannot do right now. For starters, spearing someone through the barricade is WWE's #1 spot they love to use in real life all the time. In 2K19, you can drive your opponent through this with ease. Apparently you can do this in these newer games, but seriously, in 3 years of attempting, I've never once succeeded to do it. Even so, if it is that much of a chore to actually put someone through the corner of the barricade, I'm going to take a pass on that. There's so many more OMG spots too as well. Superplex someone from the ring onto the damn floor on the outside, smash your opponent's skull into the ring post with a vicious big boot, or hell, even break the ring with 2 giant wrestlers. The ring breaking thing might still be in the game again, but I've never seen it, and it's just easier to do with just a finisher and make things simple. Plus, on top of the in-ring stuff, it adds so much more to the backstage brawling too. Powerbomb or super kick your opponent into one of the locker spaces, DDT or powerbomb them on the heavy-duty office table in front of your boss, and you can even spear them into the freaking electrical breaker box and watch it explode on your opponent. All of this adds so much tension to a rivalry and makes you feel like the wrestlers genuinely hate each other. Please, 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 2K, add this stuff back. I will get on my knees and beg you if I must.
Don't beg me, man.
The next 2 entries on this list are going to be my GM related. Strap in for this one because this specific one might be a long point. This one at number 6 is just a general set of smaller additions that as a whole would lead to a much more intriguing GM mode at the end of the day. Let me begin with the start of this mode. Can you please get rid of the stupid 25-week thing, even though I already saw online that they did not? I'm hoping there's an option to toggle that away, but I doubt it. It just never sat right with me. A calendar year isn't 25 weeks, is it? Am I missing something here?
You're not missing a brain.
Mixed in with this point as well is also having major pay-per-views on the calendar as you play through. I think it's just the lazy route that they haven't figured out a way to incorporate the Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank briefcase, or even the Elimination Chamber match. I mean, come on, SVR 06 through 08 had the Royal Rumble and the Chamber implemented into GM mode, which does lead me to another thing. During the big 4 or 5 pay-per-views, can we get like a 10 match card where the brands share half of the show? Apparently they did add shared pay-per-views, but at this point in time, there's no detail on exactly what that is. So allow me to explain what I would do if it was this, like, my choice. Honestly, just similar to what SVR games did. Add stipulations to the big pay-per-views that we share together with the other brand. War Games, for example, is literally created for this type of thing. You pick 4, they pick 4, you fight it out in War Games, the winner gets the 30th spot in the Rumble or something like that. Heck, even just a bonus 10,000 fans. You could literally do anything to just make it more interesting. GM mode should be more than just booking a match and getting a rating. Let us go head to head with the other GM with things like I just said, that spice it up along the way, instead of the low efforted shakeups that they have now. Now back to the Rumble itself. Again, can we pick 15 people? They pick 15 people. Winner obviously gets the main spot of WrestleMania, leading to a show quality boost or whatever you want to come up with. And I know some of you might be thinking, well, heck, how are you going to do the women's and the men's Rumble though? But guess what? 2K already got me covered on that one. With the introduction of intergender matches that they've already announced, this just lets you put whoever you want in the Rumble. It's a video game, not every single thing has to be 100% realistic. Same kind of thing goes with the chamber as well, or you can just have a chamber match exclusive to the brand itself. I like stuff like this because you're automatically required to put like 6 superstars at risk with a high cost stamina match like the chamber. This leads to you thinking on your feet, which always is a welcome thing to make a mode more interesting. All of these do form another idea that I would like to have a massive roster size compared to what we get now. It does not seem like that's going to be the case this year, but can you please add it in the future? I mean, look at real life. We even have mid-card women's titles in play now. There's simply just no room with these low roster sizes that we're given currently. Plus, I think we all want GM mode to feel more like universe mode, where we manage an almost entirely full roster. So yeah, expand the match card sizes for each show and pay-per-view and give us a way bigger roster, and I think that will go a long way. Few other quick things here that I don't need to deep dive into for the sake of time. 6 and 8 size match types would be great. Custom contract lengths whenever you draft. Bring back battling over the same fan pool, and along with this, ditch the trophies deciding the winner. Let's be real, I think 90% of people want to play with fans, and give us way more promo options. You added them back in universe mode, make them like just unique like 07 and 08 back in the day. And last, another really important one, allow rivalries to sour at any point, not just level 4. It adds a sense of unpredictability and again makes you think on your feet. Again, sorry for the long entry for this spot on the list. I just want GM mode to be the great mode that we all want it to be and that has us addicted for hours on end. I promise this is going to be nowhere near as long as the last point about my GM, but I think this one is worthy of its own spot. Why is that? Well, the main reason I stopped playing GM mode every year is the fact that the extreme mode difficulty and just the difficulty in general for the computers is not good enough. Through plenty of testing and watching people on YouTube like I always do, extreme computer difficulty is just really not that hard, and it becomes very, very repetitive on every playthrough. For starters here, they will use their main power cards like by the first pay-per-view, I would say every time, honestly. I think every single time. Then after this, as you proceed through the season, they will run their wrestlers into the ground by the midway point. So basically, you'll be losing potentially by the third pay-per-view, I would say max. And then after that, they just fall off a cliff and all their people are stamina drained. In my opinion, I think it's just labeling this as extreme difficulty is the issue. They should be unbeatable almost and make nearly perfect decisions all the time. There are far too many times that I see them put matches in stupid positions on the card, and plenty of times that they don't even match up the classes between the wrestlers like the game wants you to. So what's the point of this difficulty mode if they don't even play the game right? And my final thing that you could throw in the garbage, speaking of all of that, is get rid of the classes, period. They make the mode feel very, very restricted, and trust me, it'll be way better without them. In real life, you have Undertaker and Triple H that can put on an all-time classic, but in GM mode, they might both be fighters, so keep them far away from each other. Makes a lot of sense, right? I think it would just be in everyone's best interest to just can it. Originally, I was going to say this mode needs to go, and that still remains true. But unfortunately, through the new announcement of WWE 2K25, they have already confirmed that Showcase mode is returning, and in my opinion, the worst it's ever been. Before I get into the current Showcase, let me explain my original plan of what I was going to say about the Showcase mode for a solution here. There were options, trust me. If you wanted to keep Showcase mode, I said it last year in my 2K24 review, and I still believe it to be a decent option now. Pick your cover athlete like Roman Reigns, for example. Instead of retelling history, take Roman Reigns on your own unique design story. And my other option, of course, is just bring back Road to WrestleMania for a specific superstar or multiple superstars. I feel like these two are kind of the same thing, I guess, at the end of the day. I feel like it's not even that difficult either. Just keep the formula you have. I mean, you could even keep the stupid objective-based things if you want, but like just make it a new, unique thing. Not a repeat of shit we've seen for the past how many years. I know, this would require the people that make this game to actually be creative, and it sounds like an illegal request nowadays from the consumers. But I think this would build hype for the cover reveal every year too, on top of everything. We will all anticipate who's going to be on the cover and get a new brief story every year. But let's get back to the actual showcase that is here this year and probably going forward. I literally cannot stand what it currently is. Again, I said this in my video last year and I'll say it again. The specific control-based objectives just do not work for me. They are some of the most tedious and boring things I've ever done in any video game out there. It also doesn't help that the controls are far more complicated during gameplay than they need to be. More than a few times you'll have to pause the game to figure out how to do a specific move in order to advance. They kind of addressed this last year by putting the specific control up on the screen, but they only did that because they know how stupid and tedious it is. And plus, even if you do know the move, I swear to God this game will purposely go out of its way to make sure the objectives are so impossible to hit just to annoy you beyond repair. Like here, when I'm playing this shit on normal difficulty and the Rock still reverses the superplex 4 times, leading me to quit because I couldn't take it anymore for my own sanity. So I would say doing 80s, 90s, maybe early 2000s at this point in history for a showcase is like passable, I guess you could say. But now we're doing a Bloodline showcase. Like for real right now? We literally are still living through the Bloodline story in real life to this day, and I think it's even become stale, you could argue. So now 2K wants us to play a showcase mode for WWE history that literally just happened within the last 5 years. Nah, man, I hate this mode even more than I already did before. I'm done talking about this right now. I'll save my rant for my 2K25 review, and let's move on. Oh, here's something that'll shorten the video time a little bit. My faction. In every way, shape, and form, this mode right here can get the hell out of this game and stop hiding all the cool alternate attires behind a paywall. Okay, I think that about covers that. My faction. Bye-bye. So there was this rumor floating around about a free roam city type of thing being incorporated into My Rise, kind of similar to NBA 2K. This ended up being its own separate mode, it appears, instead. But let's jump into that real quick. Look, on paper, as a big immersion type of guy, I love the sound of it. My main concern with this being added is them heavily using microtransactions to weigh down your experience. This most likely won't be out of control in year 1 or 2, just like My Faction 2. But as time rolls on, more idiots will give into these weird urges to spend money on virtual nonsense. And I'm telling you, when this happens to wrestling games are going to head towards the same downward trend that all other sports games are currently riding on. Yes, I think the idea of free roaming or a city is cool. I'm just worried about the money involvement. But anyways, let's get back to the reason that My Rise is actually on this features list for me. I think in terms of adding more replayability to a wrestling game, it is imperative that My Rise either stays the way it is with the addition of continuing forever once the story plays out, or we just get a more drug out version of what it is now, and all those cutscenes and heavy story stuff are just given to you at a slower rate instead of constantly relying on a short story the whole way through. For example, to explain this a little bit better, at one point in 2K24's story, Roman Reigns returns to send you a threatening message on the big screen, but then instantly after this, your career fast forwards to SummerSlam with a random title defense against Drew McIntyre. So I like everything cutscene wise here, but instead of fast forwarding, let us play everything leading up to that next interesting point in time. Give us a build to the McIntyre match, or let us have random feuds that actually go on for like a month or two in between. To go with this too, I think it would be in 2K's best interest for My Rise to give us a more open type of career. What I mean by that is let us lose any match and branch out from there. I'm cool with there still being like must-win matches along the journey here, but like if you like have an unbranchable main part of the story that you must win, that's fine. But outside of that, if I lose like a championship match, that I'm not champion anymore. It's simple as that. Don't make me replay it over and over and over and over again until I win. It's just stupid. I think that's really the main things I want to see with this mode, but let's get to my number one thing on the list finally, and without a doubt the most important must-have thing for WWE games going forward. This mode right here, without a doubt, is almost a make or break feature by itself every year going forward until it is brought back, and it looks like it's once again absent, and I'm very angry about it. I'm actually sad to say this too, but in the early 2010s when this feature was in the game, I never played it as much as I wish I had at the time. I think Universe mode being new at the time and at its peak is why I really didn't jump into Create a Story as much as I wish. As the years went on, there have been many times that I go back to the older WWE games not to play Universe mode, but create a story. This is another one of those features from older WWE games that's so rich with content the way it was. That, I mean, once again, I don't give a crap if they want to copy and paste everything for now, and then moving forward, they add to it. I know I've used the word replayability in this video quite a bit up to this point, but I think that's wrestling games' biggest issue at the moment. Create a Story by itself is a guaranteed solution to that issue. As long as they don't dumb it down or ruin it, just bring it back. Imagine the countless hours of creating your own stories and shows. This mode by itself allows you to book tons of cutscenes, lets you write out all the dialogue within these cutscenes, and they even give you a really deeply designed branching option whenever you choose. This branching option gives the player actual choices throughout, and you can branch towards whatever path the user created. Once you are done creating, you can play through your own story if you want, or upload it for others to check out and be surprised by what you've created. And that right there is what makes this mode the best. The countless fun hours you could spend downloading and playing through all these unique stories created by other players when you don't know what's going to happen or how it plays out. I see no reason this wouldn't keep players hooked for a wrestling game almost all year round, if not all year round. When there's always going to be new stories to check out on a daily basis, it just leads to endless fun and possibilities. For me, Create a Story is a mode meant for wrestling people, and I've reached a point that I almost don't want the next WWE game anymore unless this exists. So 2K, listen to your community and please add this back. I know I begged earlier, but this time I will literally get down on my knees and do whatever you want for Create a Story to return.
Get off your knees!
There you have it though, my 10 biggest things that WWE 2K25 and future entries of this series need to add for your enjoyment. Please give me your feedback and features you would like to see in the comments below. I always enjoy reading your opinions and see what you all want from a specific game that we talk about for the day. While you're at it too, if you enjoyed today's video, maybe drop a like on it to help me out. Plus, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stick around for all future videos in 2025 and beyond. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. That's going to be it for me in this one. See ya!